Okay, now that we finished row 17, it's time to start the shadow box, which is rows number 18 and 19. So for row 18, we're going to chain 2. Again, this is with the front side facing. We are going to, well, first of all, just for clarity, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. I'm not counting that as a double crochet in this pattern. Okay, we're going to double crochet in the first 4 stitches. We're not going to skip any stitches here. First 4, that's 1 double crochet, that's 2, sorry about that, 3 and 4. Now here is where we begin the shadow box. We're going to prepare for a treble crochet. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches and we're going to treble crochet, that's working through both loops, in the next 2 stitches. These are trebles. Okay, now working behind these 2 stitches, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to work a treble in each of the skipped stitches. Okay, so that's 1 there and 1, you can see where I'm putting it right next to it. Now we're going to prepare for another treble. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches and we're going to treble in the next 2 stitches, just like so. Now working in front of these 2 stitches, before we worked behind, now we're working in front. We're going to treble in the 2 stitches that we skipped. Do a treble crochet, just like so. Let's take a look at this. So it should look like a big V here. Okay. Now we're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. That's 1 and 2. Now we're going to do that again. We're going to do that actually 3 times. We're going to skip 2, treble crochet in the next 2 stitches. Now working behind these 2, we're going to treble crochet in the 2 stitches right here. I'm going to flip it to the back so you can see where these go a little bit better. Whoops, let's try that one again. And right next to it, you can see the stitch right there. Okay, now skip the next 2 stitches and treble crochet in the next 2. Okay, let's get some more yarn. Now we're going to work in front of these 2 stitches and we're going to treble crochet in the 2 skip stitches right here, just like so. This is called the shadow box. Okay, and then we're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And stop and see what we have here. Okay, and by the way, once you finish this row, you'll be halfway through the square. Let me go ahead and finish one more of these shadow boxes and then I'll show you the end of the row. Okay, now that we're at the end of the row, we are going to double crochet in the last 3 stitches. It's 1, it's 2, and 3. Do not work in the turning chain. Okay, chain 2, 1, 2, turn. Now we're going to work the next row, which is row number 18. I'm sorry, row number 19. We are going to double crochet in the first 3 stitches, which were the double crochets from the previous row. Okay. Now we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and we're going to treble in the next 2. And this is with the back side facing. Now we're going to work behind these 2, and we're going to treble crochet in the 2 skipped stitches. I'm showing you from the back side. Okay, so it should kind of look like this from the side that you're facing, that's facing you right now. Now we're going to do this. We're going to skip the next 2, and we're going to treble in the next 2 stitches. Like so. Now working in the 2 stitches we just skipped, and working in front of the last 2 stitches we just made, we're going to do 2 trebles, 1 treble in each of those stitches. Okay, now we're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And this is what it should look like. Okay, it should look kind of like an X. Now if we flip it to the front side, it should look like a shadow box. Okay, so go ahead and do that 2 more times in this row. Now that we have 3, looks like 3 X's on the back side, go ahead and we're going to do 4 double crochets to end the row. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that is going to end the shadow box. Let me show you what it looks like with the front side facing. Okay, just like so. Okay, so the next 2 rows, okay, rows 20 and 21 are simply chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch across. So do this, what I'm going to show you here, I'm going to do this 2 times, 2 rows of just single crochet all the way across. I'm going to go ahead and do this. That's rows 20 and 21, and then I'll give you some more instructions. Okay, now that I've completed the 2 rows of single crochet going one direction and then back again, we will have the front side facing. I want you to take notice that these rows may seem a little out of proportion as compared to these other rows down here, and I just want to say right away, don't worry about that, because what we're going to do with the remainder of the rows and the perimeter round will make that all even out. Okay, so don't get worried about your gauge or anything on that. That is normal, and this will take care of itself. Okay, let me give you some more instructions. We've just completed through rows 21. Now, from this point on, what we are going to do is we're going to go back to row 2, which began with the low front ridge, and we're going to work rows 2 all the way through rows 17, which is the single crochet row that ends after as part of the low front ridge. Do not do a shadow box again. Okay, so just to clarify further, from this point on, I'm not gonna give you more instruction per video. What if you need more instruction on repeating this section, simply go back to the beginning of this video, because it is exactly the same, starting with row 2, which is the low front ridge rows, and then the 2 cable rows, 2 low front ridge rows. Then you're going to do single crochet, the knurl stitch, the single crochet in the remaining loop, another single crochet row, low front ridge rows again, cable rows again, and then the 2 low front ridge rows. Okay, go ahead and complete all of that. You should have a square at the end of all of that, and I will show you how to do the perimeter round when we come back. Okay, after repeating rows 2 through 17, your square should look something like this. Okay, Pardon the color change there with the recording, but so there we are. Now, there's a very important step you must take right now. We have been using size K. We're going to dispense with that. And for the perimeter round, we are going to use the size J, which is one size smaller. If you're using a different size for your gauge hook, go ahead and just go down one size from whatever you're using right now. Okay, we're going to chain one, and we're going to turn. And we should have the front side facing us now. Okay, as we get ready to get started with our perimeter round, we should have the front side facing. And we are going to work 35 stitches on each side, 35 single crochets on each side of this square. And there will be a chain 2 turning corner in each corner of the square. This is very, very important, especially when we start putting these, crocheting these squares together. We want to make sure our numbers are lined up now perfectly so that when we go to put these together, it will not be an issue. All right, so we're going to go ahead by, again, make sure you're using the smaller hook at this point, and we're going to work just one single crochet in each stitch across on this side, and that will give us 35 stitches. Okay, I worked 35 stitches all the way across. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to turn to work along this edge, which is a little trickier since it's not totally clear as to where to put each stitch. But let me give you a hint. The center of this distance across is right here, which is the middle of the shadow box stitch. So what you can do is shoot for the 18th stitch to go right here. That makes it a little less difficult. Okay, as we go across this row, as I mentioned, you may have to play with this a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and work approximately 18 stitches, landing here at 18 to the center. Okay, I've worked approximately it's exactly 18 stitches to the center. Okay, the center being the 18th stitch. Now I'm going to just work the remainder of the 35 stitches to the other side. Just carefully spacing these. Let me give you just a view of that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish this across, and I'll show you the corner. Okay, I've worked all the way to the corner. There's 35 stitches spaced evenly. Okay, and I did work the last one in the beginning foundation chain. I'm going to chain 2. Now I'm going to be working along the foundation chain. I'm going to work a single crochet in the same place as the last single crochet. So I have a nice little corner formed here. And I'm just simply going to work in the remainder, the 2 strands that were left over from the foundation chain, and just work all the way across. Make sure you have 35 stitches here as well. It'd be easy to drop one, so you don't want to skip one. Okay. Okay, at the end of this row, if you want to verify that you have 35, go ahead and do that. We're going to chain 2. And we're going to turn. We're going to turn to work around the last edge, and we're going to do it just like we did the other end of the row side, where you work 35 stitches all the way across. You can go to the section here, make this your 18th stitch, and it should come out fairly even. Go ahead and put your first single crochet in the same place where the last one was made before the chain 2. And also, this is our little strand from our foundation row. I'm going to go ahead and just crochet on top of that as I go across, and that'll be one less strand at least that I'll need to worry about hiding when we get to completing this. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and work my 35 stitches across, and then I will show you the connection at the end. Okay, now that I've worked my 35 stitches evenly across the end rows, I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to join with the slip stitch in the very first single crochet of the round. Okay, go ahead and fasten off. Okay, now that I've hunted down my sharp scissors, I'm going to cut, and I'm going to notice that I'm leaving kind of a long strand here. That's just to make it more helpful to weave in the ends so that we can thread the yarn needle successfully. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you the square. Okay, it's kind of hard to fit it within the viewer. Okay, so now the assignment is, should you decide to accept it, is to make 20 of these should you want to do a throw, or if you want to just experiment with a pillow, which I highly recommend you try that first, make one more of these. So you should have a total of 2 of these, and then we will, in the next video number 2, I will show you how to crochet those together. If you decide to do a pillow, make sure that you purchase the amount, I'm guessing about 1/3 of a yard. I'll make it about 1/2 a yard of a cotton material or material that you like that matches the fabric of the yarn. Otherwise, you're going to have a very bright white from the form pillow showing through these holes, and it really is not a good thing. It looks much better if you put some material covering the form pillow, and then we will crochet this around it. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the next video. God bless. Bye-bye.